How was your week, man? I feel like we've had kind of a really bizarre last week.
Yep. So let me get this out of the way. I got the persistent cough from my COVID. As long as it doesn't turn into long COVID, I had that shit for a whole fucking week.
And
Oh,
you
you did
were,
too.
yeah. I think you were worse off than I was.
hmm
You sounded for a couple days there like you were gonna fucking die.
Yeah. So last week I had it from fucking Monday to Friday. Monday was bad. Tuesday was the worst. Uh, then Wednesday I was like maybe I can like do some remote work. No, brain fog. I felt like a fucking idiot, and somebody tried to call me to do some stuff, and I was like,
Mhm.
just couldn't put fucking sentences together.
I still feel off. Like I don't feel great. You know what I mean? Like you're sitting there coughing too. Like I don't feel like I'm by no means 100%.
hmm
You did sound though like it sounded bad, especially like earlier in the week. We were just kind
hmm
of like, you know,
Oh, it was real bad.
yeah,
You know, it's bad when you're home from work and you don't want to play video games.
because there's nothing better than gaming while you're sick,
Oh yeah. Oh, that's the
right?
best. Yep. Yep. Like
Um,
cuddled up in a blanket, just getting some games in. But like, I
and then
felt so
nap,
bad. Yep. I felt so
right?
bad. I was going from like one bed in the house to the next bed to the couch to the love sack because I was hot and then I was cold. Oh
Did what is your sick regimen? Like, what do you have? Like, do you have a routine?
no, no, I
No?
just do that. I do whatever makes me like sleep the most and feel the best.
Do you take like baths or cold showers?
I wish I could have. Honestly, if I'm like sick enough like this, I don't want to shower because it like
Sure.
hurts.
Well,
Um,
and then you don't want to take a cold showers suck ass.
hmm
Uh
By the way,
wait, hold up.
um,
What are you drinking?
you see that? The Founders Mortal
Mortal
Bloom.
Bloom.
You know what they
Um
say. I've never met an IPA I didn't like.
and
And this one,
Founders
it's good. They do the
are
Founders. It's the All Day IPA is their other like one,
they're
their
Philly,
notable one
right?
that I know of.
I mean, I would assume with the name Founders. If not, I'm
Uh,
gonna feel
oh, you would be wrong.
where are they based out
Grand
of?
Rapids, Michigan.
Really? I was way fucking wrong.
Yeah, I guess they just founders the fucking rapids.
So, you know what sucks, man? Like, I can't drink alcohol anymore, and it's fucking annoying. No matter
Hmm.
what I drink, I just get a headache. Like,
Well,
no
like
matter
a
what.
hangover.
It's not even like even if I have like one or two, like not enough to get like I've have you ever you don't really get hungover, but like if you drink enough and then
Yeah.
you sometimes can get hungover before you even go to bed. Like, if you like drink in the morning, say 11 o'clock, by like 5 p.m., you can definitely be hungover.
Oh, you're doing
But
some day drinking. You know what they say
sure.
about day drinking.
Um,
You can't drink all
can't
day unless you start first thing in the morning.
see. But even if I have one or two, it doesn't matter what it is, I will wake up with the worst fucking headache the next day, guaranteed. So
It
it's
sounds
just
like
gotten to the point.
you're a
I'm just
prime candidate for acid. Just do acid all day.
I think marijuana is
Oh,
is
oh,
LSD's cool. Like, okay, so
LSD is
now, well,
cool.
you know what? Are we going down the drug rabbit
Talk
hole?
about drugs. I don't
So
have
okay,
much experience.
well, okay, so I feel like I like if I'm hanging out with you and you're drinking and you're sauced up, I don't want to not be all like I don't want to be sober because that's not fun being sober around. I hate when people are like, "Oh, well, I enjoy being, I'm high on life." No, it's not fucking fun when everyone else is drunk or because they're kind of being annoying, and it's only not annoying if you're also in the same state of mind,
Sure, if
right?
you're somewhat intoxicated and you can
Mm-hmm.
enjoy it. So I was DD pretty recently, and I tried to enjoy it as much as possible. Like, and I did. I was doing some good people watching. It also depends
Sure.
where you're at in this
Right,
instance.
right, right.
Like if I'm at my house, that's fine.
Yeah.
It's not
I
like
can, but if
whatever.
I'm
I can
out,
always kind of
like
escape.
like a wedding, right? That sucks.
Yeah.
Um,
Um, But
So
if the people watching is good, then that's kind of a pass. But other than that, like people get annoying when they're drunk, and it sucks.
so I will I mean you and I both partake in marijuana, right? And then
You know my
I
nickname, right? They call me Halfer because that's all I can ever take is a half of one of
which is
those little
half of
edibles.
edible. I've been able to up my dose to a full like a 10. But
Uh-huh.
that's really it. But I can smoke pot and be perfectly fine the next day. Like I'll just feel groggy in the morning, but I feel like that's the look. But I want to touch back on the drugs as a whole.
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
you haven't really dabbled in a lot of drugs before.
Here's my drug history. Once when I was, I'll say 19 years old, Shay gave me a um, uh, uh, the painkiller thing that she got her wisdom teeth taken out.
Oh, like a Percocet
Um, she gave me a
or like a
Percocet.
Vicodin?
Yeah, it was a Percocet, and then we went for a walk around the
Okay.
neighborhood. I don't know why we went for a walk. I
Yeah,
felt
yeah.
like I was floating away.
That's a dangerous
And
game to play. Like
I didn't know it was
painkillers,
dangerous.
man.
This was circa 2009, maybe.
Dude.
And so like there wasn't the knowledge out there that that leads to like heroin, like
Sure.
eventually down the
Yeah,
road.
right. And that's why like I'm real I will take them only if I need them because dude, like that you hear the horror stories about, well, I hurt my back, doctor prescribed me Percocet and now I have to try to score heroin to, it
What was that movie with Matthew Broderick?
on Netflix,
Yeah,
right where he was like
yeah.
in charge of the
Is it Pfizer? He was in
yeah,
charge of.
one of them. Well, because like think about it, so you go to the hospital and you're in pain. Like if I go to the hospital, I have a kidney stone, right? They'll say, "What pain medicine works for you?" It's that easy, and like like I'm not going in seeking, but I'll say, "Hey, Percocet or whatever," and they'll say, "Okay, here's 30," just like that, right?
Mhm.
Um, but then like I have to take them and lock them up because, and then I don't ever. They end up just going bad, and I got
Mhm.
bad, and then I just get rid of them. But I remember in 10th grade, we used to go over my friend Justin's house. He lived in Townsend in the middle of nowhere. And so like and his parents were like never home, so we would always just do drugs. Like that
Mhm.
was kind of like what we would do. Drinking, weed. But that's where I was introduced to PCP.
Oh shit.
And I can tell you by doing it once, never again. Like I had like a seizure and then I just remember like puking everywhere. And it was one of those things where it was like, all right, I like can't. And also you can get so I was like too high, right? There's such thing as being too high, and then you get in that state of paranoia. But like I don't know how people partake in PCP and like
Isn't that
LSD
what
like
Ethan Hawke
all
does in
in
Training Day?
fucking yep,
He
yep.
said I didn't know you like to get wet. You look
Yeah,
like that
yeah,
angel
yeah, yeah.
dust.
Yeah. And
Fuck.
one time I was in I won't ever forget it. Like I was in 10th grade and it was terrifying. I've never done mushrooms,
Okay.
but I am not opposed, right? Like if
I
I
think
was
I
going to
would
do one thing,
I
right?
think I would try that. I heard they're pretty safe. It's just food poisoning, right? Basically.
Yeah. I mean, you're just eating like literal just different than the
I wish
ones
that I
you
liked mushrooms. That would be nice
I
to start.
love mushrooms.
You do
I
love mushrooms.
I
What was it?
so
We went out to dinner one time, and what did you order?
we went to Red Robin, right?
Yeah, and you ordered the mushroom
The
burger.
mushroom burger,
Like
and
it's a burger just with mushrooms on it.
it was literally, I think it was like a burger, mushrooms, and like a garlic sauce. Not even like an aioli. It was just like melted butter and like garlic on top. And why did Shay
Did that set the
say
stage for then future mushroom jokes?
always?
I think.
You
And
love
then so the next time we saw Shay saw mushrooms on the menu, she said, "Oh my God, Greg, look, mushrooms! You love mushrooms."
and it
After
was just
that, you were
that
just
one time. That
you were just
one
mushroom
time.
guy.
I was, and I do love mushrooms, But speaking of mushrooms and groceries,
Okay.
I was at the grocery store today,
Mm-hmm.
and I went to Giant.
Mm-hmm.
You don't do a lot of in-store shopping. You don't, right? Or
I don't. Well, it's all I do. I don't do any. I don't do any other stuff. But I never do the shopping. It's always Shay that does all the
are you
shopping.
normally do you normally shop at like Acme? Is that kind of your
Acme or the farmers market. That's pretty much
Okay.
all I ever
All
go
right.
to.
So I have beef with going through and you're doing your order and I had to get like 6 things, right? So I
Mm-hmm.
had the little basket and we had to get ice cream, right?
Okay.
Um
Of course.
and
So you get that
ice cream
first.
always
Just
you
kidding.
got to get all the frozen stuff and then the cold stuff and then um, but it was 2 for 7,
Okay.
right? Meaning what
Ice
each
creams.
would be 350.
350. About tree
Okay.
50.
About 350. Or with, and this is the part that fucking irks me, or 2.99 with the digital coupon limit of 2. So then I had to fucking fumble through the app to upload the digital coupon to my account so that way when I put my number in, it registered. Well, I have a potato like phone service, right? Like we do one of
Yeah.
the cheap plans.
Like Cricket
So
Wireless or something.
yeah, yeah, Visible. Actually, I think Visible is
Oh, that's who
solid.
did
We
my
don't really have a
braces. Just kidding. That sounds like a braces brand.
sure or like Invisalign, right?
Yes, that's
I
probably
think
it.
it's Visible by Verizon, right?
Okay.
But so I'm sitting there
So anyway, you don't
fumbling
get
and
any service. Yeah.
no service. I get into the self-checkout line and I pull up the app then in line. Well, it's not fucking loading, right? So I'm like 2 behind and I'm like, fuck, I'm gonna be that person that I always talk about out the at the self-checkout. And I sat there for 2 minutes and I fucking went through the app. But honestly though, like $2, right? Right? Or
Is that
no,
math?
I saved $1.
You
I
saved
saved
$1 on 2 whole ice creams.
And so, at what point is it worth it or not worth it to just take the L and spend the extra money?
Like how much time in it
How much
at
time?
the register? Like at the
I spent
register, do you
two
spend?
minutes for
I
it to
think
save
that's
a dollar.
I think that's
Right.
reasonable. 2 minutes isn't. That's not unreasonable.
But if it was like 15 minutes, I had to download the app. Then you can just I'll spend the extra dollar.
Is it $2 or is it $1 for 2 minutes? Is that the rate? So if it was
$1 for two
oh,
minutes,
no.
sure.
Because if it was $5, I wouldn't spend 10 minutes.
Well, and so, but sometimes it's like the coupons don't. It's like a BOGO, buy one get one free, and that is worth a little bit more, right? Because
Mhm.
then if a pack of Oreos is 4.99, right?
Did I tell you what my snack of choice has been lately?
Go on.
Fucking Oreos and peanut butter. Did I tell you that already? I fucking love that shit. I just take my
Like
Oreos,
that.
dip them in peanut butter. That's it.
Wasn't that the snack of choice of Lindsay Lohan in The Parent Trap?
Was it really?
And that's what kind of brought the twins together. Oh,
Really? I
yeah,
love Lindsay Lohan.
yeah.
Well, I mean, I guess I used to.
Like, um, so do you just dip it straight into the actual, or do you
No,
scoop
no,
peanut
because
butter
I don't
into
want
a
the crumbs in
plate?
there. So
Yeah.
no, so actually, I'm real savage and conservative with it. I just take a big fat tablespoon, like a big, my biggest like soup
Okay.
spoon that I have in my drawer,
Yeah.
and I scoop it out, and I just hold the spoon, and I grab my Oreos, and then I scoop right off the spoon, or I
How
eat
many
the cookie.
Oreos?
4. So it's 4 Oreo thins. They're like the little
Oh, Oreo
Oreos.
thins.
It's one. Well, here's the reason why I like those is because I can get more peanut butter on cookie surface.
So, what do you think the best vessel for peanut butter is?
Right
Oreos?
now, right now it's Oreo for me. I mean, I could be convinced otherwise, but like, I think you'd have a hard time finding a better vessel than an Oreo to consume
I'll tell
peanut
you,
butter.
a Ritz, a Ritz
That's
cracker.
fine. That's fine. That's okay.
But you know what? That's not a
There's-
good vessel because you dip a Ritz and it just
Oh, it's going to
explodes.
explode. Mhm,
right?
mhm,
It just
mhm.
literally like loses
You
all
know
of
what's a
its
really
molecular
fire snack
integrity.
with thing to put on Ritz is cream cheese.
Wait, cream
Slam
cheese
it.
and Ritz? That's fucking diabolical, dog.
It's so good. Try it.
No. The best cracker for cream cheese, Sociables.
I'm going to disagree with you. I'm going to say a club cracker. Those rectangular ones that are
Oh,
all fucking buttery.
I mean, okay,
Oh,
are club crackers the best crackers?
I think
They're
so.
so buttery and good.
I know.
And
I know they're really good.
they go well with so it's like you can't eat Ritz with everything, right? But a club cracker, you can eat that motherfucker with chili. You could probably put salmon on it,
Oh yeah, a little
right?
salmon capers with a little red onion on there.
Mm,
Um,
fuck. Yeah,
so speaking of crackers, there's the I've told you about my cracker math. There was a friend that we had that would every morning at work. This man's choice of breakfast was a sleeve, a full sleeve of Ritz crackers, right? Because crackers
how many
aren't that
Ritz
bad
are
for
in
you.
a sleeve?
I'm gonna
I
guess.
mean, there's got to be at least 20,
30.
right?
I was gonna guess 30, maybe
Okay,
32.
yeah. I mean, there's a lot.
So
It's a
I
good bit.
remember, I watched this happen for months, right? Every single day, this man brought it in a whole sleeve, and he would just chow down on it. Sometimes he would like dunk it into his coffee. That looked pretty good. I did.
Wait,
do
hold on.
you
Let me
have the
stop you
answer?
real fast. 32 crackers in a sleeve and 512 calories per sleeve.
Yes. What did I nail
However,
that
by
number?
price-
Fuck yeah.
Price is Right rules. You went over, dog. I win.
Wait, I said 32.
You
Didn't
said
I?
30, didn't you?
Oh. I thought you said 30 or 32.
We'll have to play this back. But anyway, I'm sorry. So 512 calories in one sleeve.
512 calories for the whole sleeve. And I told him, and I did the math like right there with him. I said, hey, a serving is this many. There's this many in the whole sleeve. And I said, what's equivalent to this many calories? And the popular answer was fucking Big Mac. It was about 500 something calories. And I said, you're eating a Big Mac for breakfast every single morning, except it's probably nutritionally worse than a Big Mac. 32 Ritz crackers doesn't have any protein at all, and its sodium is probably just as high.
So, how much sodium in a sleeve of Ritz? So, in a sleeve of Ritz, there's well, this is 29 milligrams, but is that per cracker?
Oh, I don't know.
So and then the top subreddit, is it normal to eat an entire sleeve of Ritz at a time? And
No.
So well, then he went to the doctors and like he had like like high blood pressure and like hypertension, pre-diabetes, and
Yeah,
and that wasn't just that, but that I feel like didn't help, right?
yep, a
You know, like,
contributing
that didn't.
factor, I would say.
Mhm. And so, do we know how much sodium is in a sleeve of Ritz?
Let's see.
Because I
how
think
much?
it's a 29.5 milligrams, but I don't know if that's per cracker or if that's just per like you know.
Oh, it says depends on the fucking serving
I
here.
mean, plus,
that's
there are
annoying.
some Ritz sleeves are significantly smaller.
Oh, one cracker. So it says one cracker. 32 crackers was the thing. Sodium. 931 milligrams. So
It's the same fucking thing.
comparable.
It's the same goddamn thing.
It's so comparable. Holy shit. 520 calories.
Dude, that's crazy to me, man. Like,
But a Big Mac has 25 grams of protein. Oh, you know what? It's the most surprising thing here is that 32 Ritz crackers has 8 grams of protein. I wouldn't have even guessed that high. But that's dog shit.
but also,
What do they call them? Dog shit macros, bro.
I'd much rather eat a Big Mac than a sleeve of Ritz.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Like
definitely.
it's crazy though. Like people who you take like we got to get like somebody who does like nutrition on here to really help guide us with this. But you look at like a Lean Cuisine or like the Smart ones, dude. The sodium is fucking gnarly in those motherfuckers,
Yeah, that's sad.
right?
Mhm.
So when do they have their place? Because
What, crackers?
no, like the Lean Cuisines. So like those frozen meals, is it ever okay or acceptable to eat them?
I mean, yeah, one, if you're a bachelor, then you have them every meal.
Or wait, would that be the Hungry Man or the Hungry Man? You know, like the fucking little
just
meat
the really
pucks.
large versions
Yep.
of those things. So when I worked at Acme, that was like my meal of choice. It was whatever frozen meal was on sale every night because I wasn't gonna pack my lunch.
So you would just buy one and then nuke it right there?
Because sometimes, yep. Right upstairs. I would buy it, go right upstairs. They put the little sticker on it showing that I didn't steal it, and I would consume it and then go back downstairs.
Now,
Mm-hmm.
so speaking of Acme,
Okay.
what ended your tenure there?
So I was a little klepto when I was younger. I had this job when I was 16, 17 years old, kind of first job stuff. And it started out, I would snatch the coupons that would print out.
Of the
So
little
you
like
buy
red, or you would snatch the.
the good coupons, the ones that would print out for people's transactions.
Oh, you wouldn't even
So
give it to him?
I would forget. I would forget to give it to
Oh.
him. I was a little piece of shit.
Ah.
That hasn't changed, but now I'm not. Now I'm a piece of shit that doesn't work.
But
at
now you
Acme.
don't steal from Acme anymore.
No, I don't steal from anyone
Yeah.
anymore. That was
Yeah,
young.
sure.
So I would steal this. So this person specifically bought 5 packs of Pampers to get their $5 off on their next transaction, probably.
Sure.
And I just would forget to give it to them. Forget.
Did they ever
And then
call
I would
you
keep
on
it
it?
for myself. So then I would use that coupon. FYI, all those when you used your store card, they know if you used a coupon that's not yours. Those coupons print out and they associate with the account that created
Oh, they're
that
specific.
coupon. Yes, they are.
Okay.
Not that it wouldn't work.
Right,
It
right.
still worked very much so, but it was that was a big red flag that hey, my account wasn't creating these coupons, yet I'm using a ton of them. So it then get through an automatic red flag. So then they said, all right, this guy's a piece of shit. What else is he doing? So what I would do is I was stealing from them. I was taking their stuff and I would do the shop backs. So you go to buy something and you say, actually, I don't want this. And you leave it at the register. Someone has to put that back. So these are shop backs. So they fill up a whole shopping cart and they say, all right, Eric, you're on shop backs. So I would take it and I would go, oh, okay, I could actually use this. And I wouldn't know where to put that back. And I would take it into the blind spot into the back of the receiving room where there was no cameras, and I would just pilfer it. And I would put it in my pocket, and I would leave for the night, and no one was the wiser.
You would just load that shit into your fucking pants?
Yep.
Wow.
And I got away with it for a really long time, and I would have got away with it too if it wasn't for you damn kids and that
Fucking
pesky dog.
Scooby-Doo. So who ended up catching you?
Loss prevention grabbed me,
Yeah.
and he pulled me into the back, and he sat me down. There was another person in the room too, and he said, look, we know, and he explained everything that I just explained to you, and he said, we know about this, and I think he said, we know about the Dr. Scholl's fucking foot pad, whatever
But you were
dumb shit that I was
the
stealing.
fucking like.
I was stealing anything that looked cool to me. I was a
Okay,
klepto.
alright, yeah.
I
Yeah, sure.
legit just wanted it. It was a thrill.
You're lucky you
I
didn't
didn't-
get banged for like grand larceny with the fucking cost of that shit.
So speaking of which, there's a certain price point that you need to make to actually
Hit that
hit
quota.
a felony, right? With inflation, does that number go up?
So let's see.
Because say it was $1,500, right?
Yeah.
Shit. $1,500. You could probably go to the grocery store and spend $1,500 in a shopping cart.
Well, and it says it varies state by state between 100 and 1,000.
Oh, okay. Wow. So
and then you get different charges. So like there's a class E for 1,000, and then like a million is a class B, and that's when you're talking like if you're stealing millions. So you're not stealing millions of dollars worth of shit. I'm gonna assume that's like stealing like a painting. Right?
Sure. Right.
You jack
Yeah.
some priceless fucking art. You stealing Dr. Scholl's is just fucking wrong, but it's not.
So listen
Yeah,
to
yeah,
what this guy
yeah.
fucking did. He hit me with you need to tell me everything else and everything else. We already know about everything else. I'm going to give you an opportunity to come clean.
You
I think
let me
that's
see an
all he
itemized
knew about.
list, right?
So I said, all right, and I just listed off
Yeah.
like 4 or 5 other things that I knew, and I thought about it, and I definitely left some things out, but I gave a good honest attempt to to list everything that I know, and he was like, what do you think? What do you think the razor blades go for? You know, what do you think the Gillette Mach 5
Per
razors go
unit.
for? And I would tell him how much I thought that they ran for, and he would write that number down. He was just doing this all on a piece of paper, and then at the end, he said, "Is that everything? Are you sure?" I said, "Yeah, yeah, I'm sure." And he did math, and he added them all up, and he said, "Do you have the $135 to pay for this?" And I was like, "Not on me." He said, "I assume you have a bank account with Citizens Bank downstairs because that's where everybody banks that works here." And I said, "I do." He said, "Do you have $135 in your bank account?" And I said, "I hope." He said, "We
Maybe.
can make this all go away." And he fucking made me go down. I think he fucking ran me because I don't think he give that money back.
I don't think that's protocol because I mean,
It is either.
because well,
I think he robbed me. But you know what? That's not Robin Hood, but like,
No,
you know, that's like street justice.
yeah, okay, look, so was management involved? Okay, yeah. So all right, look, I feel like you're not. Hey, Eric. All right, you give me.
I think they said, "Hey, he's fired.
and then he
We need you to make this happen." And he was like, he said, "I have an idea."
and then he got fired, and then the general manager was like, "All right, well, how much do you think that cost you?" And then it just.
And the manager got him the same way.
So I also worked at Acme.
Okay. How
I
did you get fired?
well, I actually quit because they refused to take me off fucking bagging. And they kept they were like, well, we're just short. I was like, no, I want to go work grocery, and they wouldn't do it. But we had so many people there that got fired for. There was someone who ran what was like the front end. She was the front end supervisor, right? And she just
Okay.
stood at the little
The fir-
podium,
the-
you know.
Yes.
And so I guess that was like my supervisor, right? And
Okay.
so she was telling people to like fill out their surveys, and I guess that's frowned upon. So like she got moved to a
Like
different.
customers?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
So she got moved, but then the store manager, he got fired because he was taking the shit that they were going to throw into the dumpsters and giving it to his church.
Oh,
And like you
no.
know how they feel about you taking their shit, obviously.
Yup.
So he got fired, and on his way out, like he kept going into the bathroom to throw up, and like he was like, I can't believe this, and like he was like legit crying. And a lot of the people that work in grocery stores, if you've never worked in a grocery store, and if you go to any for those of you listening, go to a grocery store and like look at any department. Each department has its own team and its own like management team. And the managers are always older because they don't fucking leave, right? Like most of the jobs, they're all union. Acme is 100% union. We had to pay union dues every fucking check.
I
You
remember
got
my first
paid
paycheck was fucking nothing because
nothing.
of that.
What was it like? Fucking $15 per like some, and then
Yeah, it was like an upfront cost.
but
Yeah.
then you got like extra pay on Sunday, I think, like an extra dollar or something. Like the
Yeah.
union fights for you. They're not going to fight for you because you stole from them. But
Right. I
but
did the big no-no.
I mean, there are people there that I've been here for 30 years, but I'm making, $40 an hour. So
Hell yeah.
why the fuck am I going to leave? But working in a grocery store it's fucking easy, but it's also annoying. Like especially like working in like produce with those heavy ass fucking boxes and whatever. But
I
people
remember there was a guy that would just do fucking whippets in the back
wait, instead of fucking working.
while they were working at work. This was high school for this person as
Sure.
well. So they would they would just go and they would just be like, "Hey, look at this," and they would just rattle the can. And it was like the call for people to come back and do whippets with them.
So I worked at two grocery stores,
Mm-hmm.
Acme and ShopRite.
Mm-hmm.
Acme, I did bagging and fucking bagging. It was bagging and carts, right? And then
That's how you start.
that's
That's how
how you
everybody
start.
starts, I
Yep.
think.
And then ShopRite, I did produce.
Okay.
And but ShopRite was significantly more. It was shitty. It was shitty because they paid less than Acme, and their time clock, the little machine, to punch in, was always
Mhm.
fucking broken, and then they just wouldn't pay. Oh, do you need an advance? Like, tell me now if you're short on cash. Like, I'm not short on cash. I just want what I'm owed,
Oh no.
right?
Well, is that why Pathmark's not a fucking thing anymore?
This was ShopRite.
Oh,
This was
ShopRite. I thought you
ShopRite, and
said
ShopRite is
Poshmark.
very much still
ShopRite is
still kicking.
ShopRite. Okay, yeah, I like ShopRite.
Now, was Acme the only job like before you got like your career? Was that it?
I worked at here's a throwback, Eckerd's.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
R.I.P.
Then purchased by Rite Aid. I
Yep.
was out before Rite Aid.
Uh,
Um, yeah, and that was cool. I used to actually ride my bike like fucking 8 miles each way
just to get
to
to
get
work.
to work.
You were a bike
hmm
guy.
I was bike guy.
But did you ever have like a shit? Where would you consider any of those like shitty jobs?
I had a shitty job.
Yeah.
I worked in like what I would describe as a literal Mexican sweatshop.
Yeah.
I was one of the only gringos there. This was a summer job, and I was hired by a friend's mom who worked there. She did HR.
Okay.
And when I tell you, I think this is a way to say made in America or manufactured in the USA because these clothes came in on a tractor trailer. It was like a polo facility,
Sure.
or warehouse. It was in Newcastle. And we would unload. There was little manual pallet jacks, but we would unload the trucks usually by hand and then send them in for processing to then like you would go in and you would open it up, put a pin in something and then seal it back up.
That
Then it
sounds
was
horrible.
then it was processed. That warehouse was hot.
Sure. Yeah.
Um
Good old
and-
warehouse. Yeah, man. They're
and
brutal.
and their punch cards were the legit ones where you take your card out from the thing and you put it in
And
the
the
machine
machine-
and you go
Yeah, yeah. Yeah.
and it would punch whatever the time was and there was a line to do so.
Was there?
And that was the shittiest job that I ever had.
How long did
I
you do
never
that
want to
for?
do anything like that. A summer.
Fuck.
Like not it was probably like a month and a half.
So I've worked,
You've
good.
worked the most jobs.
I have. I've worked a good bit of
What's-
jobs.
What's your guess? How many jobs? Because you could probably run through them all, but you've probably worked
10.
Yeah, I was gonna say
I
a
would say
dozen
10.
for
Yeah, I
you.
would say 9 to 10. And that might be a little high, but at least 8. But I think my worst was GameStop, and
Okay.
it was one of those jobs where I was working at Ruby Tuesday,
hmm
and I left Ruby Tuesday and got the job at GameStop, and it was retail, man. So like anyone knows, like working retail and working like directly with the public in that setting can be kind of challenging. But dude, my boss was such a fucking prick, and like
Was he a dweeb or just a prick?
he was just an asshole, man. And it was one of those things where like, outside of work, perfectly fine, like cool dude, but at work, a fucking prick. And not like so GameStop used to have some really weird like expectations. Like they would be like, "Well, we need you to count everything in the store in like an hour." Like it was always like the requests that would come from like corporate were bizarre. And maybe that kind of factored into that individual being an asshole, but I'll never forget. And this was on me. Like I fucked up. It was like my second or third day in. And so at GameStop, you're told to push two things: what lines of credit and pre-orders. I don't know if that's still true, but this was 10 years ago.
No, they try to sell you the warranty now.
The
on
warranty,
games.
yeah, $2.99 or whatever. You know what? We did also push those, but pre-orders was like your bread and butter, right? Like the more pre-orders you have, the better. And I took a trade in, and so when you trade something in, I don't know if this is true everywhere, but in Delaware, so say you go to GameStop or Guitar Center or whatever, you sell your guitar to Guitar Center. They can't put it on the floor for like 30 days because if it's stolen, that gives the police time to identify it. So if you come in to trade something into GameStop without an ID, they aren't supposed to take the trade because they make a copy of that receipt. And then in GameStop, you would take the games and literally put them in the back, and they would have a trade hold. So sometimes when you would get used games, you would see the trade hold, and that is so it doesn't end up on the floor. So you trade in a console. A complete console was the console and the controller. Well, I made the fucking mistake of taking the console in and then giving the guy credit for the fucking controller. So I like instead of the console and the controller as one, I did the console with the controller and then the controller. So he got an extra like $45 in store credit or whatever.
Damn, you gave him 45
I
bucks for just a
did.
controller?
And I
Shit.
thought like that was gonna be it. Like I was like, all right, well, it's been a good 2-3 days or whatever. And I just remember he took the fucking sticker that printed out and just like slapped it repeatedly on the fucking counter and just in front of everybody. It was like
Like to berate you?
yeah, it was the weirdest thing, and it was like I don't give a fuck. Like I'm 20 at that point,
Mm-hmm.
maybe 19.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but like so the demands there, and it's not surprising that the company has kind of like everyone has left because now you go into a GameStop and it's totally different than what it used to be. There's what maybe a wall of games, and then it's like T-shirts, Funko Pops, and
Funko Pops is all it
collectible
is.
shit.
Yep.
But when I was there, and every day you would alphabetize the fucking wall.
When you were there, it was the glory days.
And you know what? People would come in and they would say, "Well, there are no games in the cases." It's like, "Well, yeah, so you can't fucking steal them. The games are
Mm-hmm.
behind the counter." But I don't know if they
Yeah,
still do
computer
this.
game.
But they used to let us check the games out. So new
Oh
game
yeah,
comes
like check
out,
the games out. So you
72
work there, you
hours,
can. Hell yeah.
and then I would sell it to you as brand new.
Oh word.
So when you go to GameStop and you get that copy that's open,
Yeah.
oh, because this is the display on the wall. No, someone took that fucking game home and they
Okay.
played it. So therefore, you're not getting a used game. I don't know if they still do that, but I remember because I used to be a cuck and I would open, you know how the game, like I buy everything digital, you buy everything digital now, but the
Right.
games they would be sealed and on the actual inside of the case, they'd have that like Xbox 360 sticker, you know?
Yep. 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 Yep.
I would cut it with my car key so it would do like a zigzag
So
perforation
it
on it.
wasn't like yeah.
And then
Yeah.
that way people would know. And no one ever said anything, but then at least like they could try to say like because
This has
everyone
been
was
used. If
opening
there was
games
something wrong with it.
and not like it matters, but yeah, they
I'll
used to
tell you
let
what,
us
I
check
think
out
we've
games,
talked
man.
about that before is the feeling of on your way home, oh, I'm at a fucking red light, or my mom's driving because I'm fucking 13 years old,
Mm.
in the car, opening up that video game and like reading the guide. We've definitely talked about this before, but that's the fucking best. That was the best.
What do you think it was the best? I'm gonna pitch two scenarios, right? The
Okay, all
best
right.
nostalgic, memory. Being in the car and A, opening up a game, Nintendo
Mm-hmm.
64, Xbox, whatever, and reading the book. Or B, like playing your Game Boy with the little light as you're like driving in the dark and you're, sitting back there and then falling asleep and waking up at home.
Oh, time travel, teleportation. I mean, I'm gonna say the better feeling is the opening up the game, the
Hmm.
anticipation of playing the game, getting home, which I've heard is akin to
Foreplay?
when people do no, when people do drug. Well, we'll go back to drugs. That the score getting the drugs is actually more of a high than actually doing the drugs. I've heard people, hey, I'm on my way to go get my heroin. That move of scooping it is actually better
Well,
than actually doing the drugs.
and we didn't really, I mean, we had the internet, but like you bought a game and you really rolled the dice because it was either fucking good or it was garbage.
Well, you didn't have a fucking, hey, here's a 25-minute playthrough of
Yep.
Banjo-Kazooie.
IGN, they weren't putting out like that yet. They were just reviewing games. And I wasn't on the internet like that, especially like in the early 90s, dude. Like N64, shit, GoldenEye just looked fire, so you bought GoldenEye,
Yep.
but like how many games did you buy that were a total fucking bust and you're just
Well, they were total fucking bust, but I still played them.
sure, well, yeah, because you just spent all this goddamn money. Games
The
have
best
always been
move.
expensive.
Yeah, they have been. And that's actually the thing. If they went up to 70 or 80,
Is that how much
It
is a
wouldn't-
game $69.99 now?
I think a lot of them are. I think you still get some for 60.
Depending
But,
on what
like,
it
they've
is.
been 60. They've been 60 for a really long time. It's time. I'm not saying it's time that inflation hits the games to be higher than 60 because that still is just like a high cost, but you can't be surprised when that happens.
So what is the most expensive video game that you've ever purchased?
I don't know. It's probably
Over
probably
$100 probably, right?
yeah, there's probably some limited edition game that I bought. I can't put my finger on it, but I know that you've bought a really expensive one and then like resold them.
Always. So what I would do is I would buy the
Is it
limited
Fallout
edition.
76?
Well, all of them, and then I would either A, piece them out, or B, just buy them and sell them new. So like, my favorite limited edition was Arkham Asylum, which is still one of my favorite games of all fucking time.
Mm-hmm.
And there was, dude, 2009. There was just something about. I just remember playing the demo, and I went to the midnight release when midnight releases were a thing. I bought the collector's edition. It came with the Batarang. It was in this cool fucking case. But then I'm like, all right, well, I have no use for this Batarang. Sold that for, $50. Well, now I
Yeah.
almost paid for the whole fucking thing because the thing was
Right.
$99, right?
Right.
And
Right.
then I used to sell, and eBay really kind of cut this out, and it also wasn't acceptable then, but the DLC codes. So like
Mm.
I remember I pre-ordered Assassin's Creed. I think it was I can't remember which one it was. The first one that introduced multiplayer, and there was
Okay.
a skin where it was like a jester skin, and that sold for like $50 online. Yeah, dude.
Fuck.
And then no one ever tried to fight it because all they would have to say is, "Hey, goods not delivered," and they'd get their money back and they'd keep the code because once you use the code, it's fucking gone. So then
Right.
I started buying. I used to buy a lot of movies. Do you remember? I would buy like Blu-rays, and I
Yes.
I would take the digital code out and I'd sell it for $5, $10.
I remember that. Yeah. And that just kind of
And people
subsidized
would,
your purchase of the
yeah.
movies.
And now obviously like I have no way to play physical media.
Media. Right.
But like that used to be my bread and butter.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. You always got to hustle.
yeah. Well, I like selling shit online. Like I just like the act of selling stuff, and
Mhm,
I like
mhm.
flipping stuff. So any flippers listening, tell me your secrets. There is actually I've been, what is his name?
The guy that goes to Goodwill.
Yeah, American Arbitrage, dude.
I remember you telling me about this guy.
I
I've gone with you a couple times when
You've
you go
gone-
there.
yeah,
It's a
the
fucking,
Goodwill
it's a
by
fucking
you.
art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Was it the one by you? No, it was the one in
Up off 202.
202. But there's one in Northeast Maryland. But Goodwill, like thrift stores it's hard because they either are pricing things too high, like they're selling to someone who's going to resell it, which then no one's going to buy it, or you're selling it too low, which is great. But like if you sell it too high, then I'm not going to go in and buy it because then you're not making any money. But then also somebody who like, hey, I need like I actually need that. Well, I can't afford it, right? It's too high. Uh,
Mhm.
but there's a Goodwill in Northeast that they do the toy bags, and they're always like vintage fucking toys. And sometimes it's a bust, but they're like $1, $2. And like
Yeah,
sometimes you
worth the
buy
risk.
stuff where it's like,
You had me go through. I think we both had a bag and we were both going through and like taking the Google image search
Yep.
of each of the toys and say, what's this worth? What's this worth? And we were basically like, throw away.
Yep.
This one's
Donate it
good.
back
Throw
to
this one
Goodwill.
away.
so I still have a bunch of that stuff in the basement that I need to go through, but it's crazy. Like you'll go through a bag and it's like nothing, nothing, nothing. Wait, this is worth $40. You bundle these up, this is worth, and it's like McDonald's toys. Like a lot of that shit's not collectible stuff. That's like Beanie Babies. Nobody's fucking buying that shit. But like those old toy, I remember I got the Do you remember the Power Rangers with the head flips where you would hit their like and
Yes.
they would flip
Yes.
their head to the like the unsheathed head to
What-
the masked head.
Or there was I'm thinking of like the beast form things where they would be like, oh, now I'm the tiger.
Oh yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever it was.
Do you remember?
Maybe
Do you remember the ones where they were in their uniforms and you would like they had like a lever and it would like pop their head into place.
I could picture it. Yeah.
But like things like that, it was like $2 for the bag of them, and they sold for like $40. Like people buy that shit. But I am not good enough where like American Arbitrage and his girlfriend, they go and like they know like clothing. They've kind of grasped the whole art
Hey,
of
this
the
is fine
store.
china. This is a
Mhm.
piece of furniture
Yep.
created
Just like
by
that,
this
like, they
high
know
name brand.
I'm going, and they play. You have to play the bins, and if you've never seen the Goodwill bins in action, it is fucking chaos. So you go in, and they bring in 20 bins. Everyone's in there in line. They all have their gloves on, and then they essentially blow a fucking whistle, and then they all go through it. And like you might
That
find
sounds fucking miserable.
and so the idea is, I think Goodwill, they're supposed to take like say like a Sega Dreamcast goes through. They're supposed to take that and I think sell it on their like online, like the e-commerce part of their business. Sometimes it'll slip through the cracks. And the bins, it's by the pound.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so you get your
So
money's worth.
you get, but like some of the shit, like you might find a used condom,
Nice.
or you might find like when we went for work for a visit,
Used condom.
there was a bundle of 5 PS2s.
Oh, yeah.
And so that's where like they'll make their money. You spend all day, people go every day, Monday through Friday or whenever they're open. You get there right when they open, you leave when they close, but then they'll kick you out when they swap the bin. So then they'll everyone step back.
And then what, you have to
You
get
have
back
to
in
like
line?
fucking like when you're taking a test, pencils down, and you gotta. I don't know if you have to get back in line or you just need to step back until they bring the new bins out, and then all that shit that doesn't sell. I don't know if it gets resorted or if that just goes to another location or how they. I think that's the shit. The bins, I think, is the stuff that either A, they
Okay.
have too much and then they go to the store, or vice versa. Like I don't know,
Right, right.
but that shit's fucking exhilarating. And
Yeah, I guess so. If you can be good at that,
Yep.
then yeah.
But yeah, man, it's something that like I wouldn't hate doing full time
Yeah.
if I could, if it
Mhm.
was sustainable. But
Now, that condom, do you think it's still good if you like rinsed it out?
so are condoms, do they have to be one and done? Right? Like
The lambskin ones are designed to be just, you can just wear that bitch all day.
did you ever watch that show with
So I'm ready, baby.
Jason
Just take your pants off and it's just ready to rock.
well, Jason Momoa, and I can't remember, it was on like the British channel where he was like the fur
Black
the
Hawk
fur
channel.
trapper.
Oh, the
yeah,
BBC,
yeah.
I mean.
BBC. He was like he was like a fur trapper or whatever.
Okay.
And they had these condoms and they would just roll it on and then they would soak them, hang them out to air dry, and then you put it back on. Because I guess back in those days, syphilis, I think, was probably,
So
big one.
that's like using like a plastic bag or something. Like some
Yeah. And you just kind of dip it but it's crazy that even then they were still using protection. So
smart. Well, yeah, they were tired of it. Isn't that how powdered wigs came to fruition?
everyone lost
Like
their fucking hair.
because they had syphilis. I think it
Syphilis
was exactly
eats-
syphilis.
it puts like it causes hair loss.
Gross.
And so everyone had syphilis.
Yeah.
So the moral of this podcast is if you lived in the 1700s, you had syphilis.
Probably. Yep. That's the takeaway
And
here.
we're not even going to look into that.
No,
that's
it's
statistic.
proven.
It's proven. All right, man. Well, feel better.
Thanks. You too.
Yeah, thanks. Enjoy the rest of your night, and I will see you next week.